Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Paris-Roubaix is here this weekend. We've got the women on Saturday and the men on Sunday. The routes are broadly similar, so let's take a look at the weather, the condition on the cobbles, favourites and the predictions as we are here on the Torre d'Orenburg. So first the weather, and at the moment we have glorious sunny weather. But it's been very hit and miss on the whole. We've had rain, we've had sun, basically every season bar a heat wave and snow. The condition on the cobbles at the moment, as you can see, it's quite dry. Cobblestones are dry here, but on here you've got the moss and it's still quite wet and muddy. So if it stays dry, it will be dry, but it won't. It's going to rain beforehand. You've got puddles on the outside of the Arenberg. And yeah, it's sort of that classic Roubaix sort of weather. It's been wet, it's been dry. Let's see what it is going to be on Sunday. The route for the women's race takes a pretty similar shape to it did last year. Start in Chicane, finish in the velodrome. Sectors, they start at Orang-Wadigny and they go all the way through, following the same route as the men to the velodrome there. They could add in sectors in the south as they go through their southern lap and then take in the Arenberg, but it doesn't look like that's ever going to happen. So this is what we have, and it's still great to have the race. Favourites, Kopecky will be a big one. Big miss for them will be Marlene Reuser, and I wouldn't be surprised if Christina Majerest as well if it rains. Elsewhere you've got Marianne Vos. She's the other big favourite, to be honest. Elsewhere you've got a lot of outsiders. Someone like Alison Jackson last year, if they get into a breakaway, that happens very often in women's racing, that can go. In fact, it's quite dry here on the Arenberg. Prediction wise, I think the GOAT of women's cycling, Marianne Vos, is going to get her first cobble and win Paris-Roubaix Femme avec Zwift. On to the men, and they do take in the Arenberg. The route is broadly similar. There's a few tweaks to sectors in the ones before Holvey and Denane, but from there to the velodrome is exactly the same. The addition, and I'm going to talk about that now, is the chicane. Here we have the new chicane to the Arenberg. They come down this road, breaking point here on the railway lines, and then up, tight 180 to the Arenberg. So I don't think the chicane is going to do the job it is intended to. The intended plan of it is to reduce the risk of crashes on the cobbles. For me, speed is your friend on the cobbles. So reducing the speed coming onto it does increase the chances of crashing on the cobbles because they're going slower. Also, it creates a massive bottleneck with the braking zone on the railway lines. Who knows what that is going to achieve when it comes to it. On to the favourites for the men's race, and you've got the huge favourites of Alpecin, De Koenig. Defending champion Mathieu van der Poel and Jasper Philipsen will hold a deadly card to play. They can win by attacking, they can win by sprinting. The possibilities are endless to them. Elsewhere, you have Fred Wright and Mohoric, I think they'll be a bigger threat to here for Bahrain than at Flanders. Similarly to Trek Segafredo, Little Trek, Mads Pedersen, Jonathan Milan will be a much bigger threat on here compared to Flanders. Stefan Kung as well, and Lewis Askey for FDJ. Ineos trio, I think, are a dark horse for the race. You've got Josh Tarling, Ben Turner, and Magnus Sheffield. Lawrence Rex will be leader for Intermarché, and who knows what Visma Lease bike team will show up. You might have Dylan van Baarle in form, although on the recon on the Arenberg he looked very tentative. But I wouldn't rule out something from Christophe Laporte if he races, or their young star Per Strang Hagenes. Ola Lascano and Ivan Garcia Cortina were brilliant in Flanders. I expect them to be brilliant again. The nearly men for the last few years, German duo John Degenkolb and Niels Pollitt, will provide the Germans threat, and you can never write off Quickstep. I know they've been poor, but you can never write off Soudal Quickstep to do something at Roubaix. On to my prediction now, and you will not be surprised to hear that I'm going for a second win in a row for Mathieu van der Poel. I expect Alpecin to rip it on Holvey with a brilliant attack, decimating the group to lessen the risk of the chicane going into the Arenberg. Then, with maybe 3 or 4 of them, they'll go and they'll ride, and Van der Poel will go solo, probably again like last year on the Carrefour. Second place, I think Pedersen, and third, Jasper Philipsen, just being pegged in a sprint by the Dane.